Oh, yes. Yeah, I was just sitting here thinking about those that just want me to do things their way instead of the way of the law. Now, we're having a conflict where you're allowing for crimes to take place and you're not enforcing the law. And then you want me to get an attorney, and I've emailed 1,000 attorneys, and then you obstruct my emails. Oh. Now, exactly how am I going to get an attorney if you obstruct my emails, Sheriff? Now, in your minds, we can do whatever we want because we're law enforcement. In my mind, you should have never ever fucked with me, okay? Now, for over 7 years, you've been violating the laws of the United States, and you made up a bullshit excuse that you would say that I was crazy for not understanding my rights. Now, let's say you have a bank account. Coach, do you have a bank account, Sheriff? You have a personal relationship with your banker? You know, I worked at Washington Mutual in Port Angeles and in Sequim and in Port Townsend. Does all three cities know that I was a financial consultant at a bank known as Washington Mutual? And I happen to have had clients in both Jefferson and Clallam County where when I was the financial consultant from 1998 to 2005, I moved here because of the Y2K concerns of living on Capitol Hill. Ouch. Now, when I got here, I could only sell insurance and mutual funds. But I did get my Series 7, and I was the financial consultant, and each and every employee of those three banks, they know who I am. Now, you seem to have thought that from the time that I was a financial consultant, very respected member of the community, that somehow I went crazy over the next fucking 10 years. But I didn't. I didn't get a mental illness. I didn't get a blood disease. I didn't commit domestic violence or child abuse. And what you thought was, well, we'll just cover this up. The problem is you issued a protection order when I wasn't a resident of Washington State. Now, in 98 to 2005, it wasn't like how it is now where you had to be on somebody and you had to pay a sheriff or a police officer to enforce the laws. See, when I lived here, it was that everything was normal. You enforced the laws and you didn't play your stupid fucking games. Now, in the last 10 years, because it's 2018, yes, something went upside down, and you seem to think that you could say any person was crazy so that you would not have to remove your court orders. Well, the truth of the matter is, when you don't give notice and opportunity to the individual known as the respondent to be able to respond to court hearings because you don't do what the law says. You tried to make a sane man insane because of your insanity of having court hearings without any notice and opportunity to be heard. Now, let's say I went through all the clients that I've known from the time of 1998 when I moved here and I lived at Kingsway Foursquare Church and I was an assistant pastor. I worked with the youth, and then I got that job at Washington Mutual, and there hadn't been a financial consultant there for quite a while. And then I bought a house in Sequim, Washington, and I met my wife at the Albertsons, and we got married in Kosovo. Now, you picked a fight with a guy that lived here for a long fucking time. I'm not crazy for knowing exactly who I am. Now, who the fuck are you? For the last 15 years, you've been playing top secret lizard in your ass or I'm on the payroll? Let's say I went through every client and every signature of myself, of all 1,200 counts that I opened while I was the financial consultant at Washington Mutual, because my signature is the same. Now, you thought because you kept me homeless and you obstructed my rights and you were paid to violate the laws of the United States that I was going to be somebody different than the individual that worked at that bank. Give me every client at Chase Bank that happened to have my signature on their application, on their disclosures, because I have a big class action lawsuit. I'm not mentally insane for realizing the requirements of the law. Now, are you going to enforce the fucking law today?